All right, well, welcome. We've got another Tuesday. It is November 26, 2024. And today you guys are stuck with me all the way through. So selling your value to buyers is what we're going to hit today. And I'm going to ask as much as possible. I know when we do the deep dives, our Tuesdays, that many of us are multitasking, which is no problem. What I would ask for you today is do as much participation with me, as much interaction as possible, because I think it's through that we're going to share a lot more information as we go through all of this. So here we go. The first thing I want to start with is a quick, what do you bring to the buyer? So here's where the group discussion comes in, where I was saying that let's share with each other. What is it that you bring to the buyer? And maybe another way of looking at it is, what do I get for my 3%? I'm going to hire you to take care of me and helping me find my new home. So here we go. You go first. You get the easy ones. What is it that you get for 3%? What do I receive? Like, I want to turn around and scratch on the whiteboard. Maybe that's why we're all here today. Thank
Representation.
you, Holly. I like that one. Negotiating skills. Lisa,
My
what were you?
expertise.
Expertise. Absolutely. What else, guys?
Representation.
Representation. Now, let's take that a little bit deeper, because when we really get down to representation, what does that mean? What do I get because I'm being represented? What if I gave you, what are your fiduciary responsibilities? Oh. What if I said, oh, who's that?
Martha, loyalty.
Loyalty. What if I gave them old card or old car? What's the O? Obedience. Loyalty. Disclosure. Confidentiality, the accountability, the reasonable care, and I always add due diligence, because I think more of us will understand due diligence than we do with the aspect of reasonable care. Lisa, yes, access to listing resources. Now, let me ask you this. If this is all we had, gang, if that's all you did for your buyers, how excited would you be about being a buyer and signing that you're going to pay us 5%, or excuse me, 3%? Would we not be a little bit hesitant if we thought that's all that we would receive? As a matter of fact, take it to the other side of things. Think like a for sale by owner. What do we do for a seller? In the eyes of a for sale by owner, you put a sign in the front yard, throw in that thing called MLS. You might hold an open house. You do a lot of stuff out on the internet, and then you sit back and you wait for somebody else to sell it. And then you want to take 6% of my money. No wonder for sale by owners are not excited about working with a real estate agent, because they feel, they believe, they hear, they see that's all we do. And with a buyer, we can't even put it in. So see, we need to be able to lay out what it is that we're actually doing. Okay? So that's a key part. All right. So let me go on. Here's 90 things that we provide, or a service that we provide to a buyer. Some of them are pretty simple. Some of them we haven't thought about. Some of them we don't realize what the value is. But yes, there's a lot of things that we do. And I'm just letting you slip through these. Danette, I like the way you're thinking. Lisa, you're breaking it down really well. If you're looking at the chat room, you'll see what we're referring to here. Okay, here's the rest of them. Now, if you're really nice, here's what you do. You're going to send me an email and say, hey, Darwin, send me the buyer stuff that you've got. This will be one of those things that I can send to you. Then you can take and put into it or reduce it to what key things are that you would have. But I think it's just know there's a boatload of things that we do to take care of buyers. Okay. And as you can see, we're really going all the way through to the end of the transaction. And yet, what I can tell you, I believe, is we need to carry it out even further, because it's the repeat and the referral business that we're actually going to be going after once we're done with this buyer client. Okay. So send me an email. You know that's Darwin at darwinconley.com. And I will send you this, and I'll send you a number of other things that we'll discuss today also. So now let's say I've got a full handle on my value. How do you present it? Matter of fact, let me put it in a different way. How do I get my value out there so that a buyer would sign a contract with me that will allow me to now go out and show them homes? How do we do that? That's difficult, but I want you to think about it. So somebody inquires on a listing, be it a phone call or they use the web. How do we do it on a listing? How do we do it at an open house? Because now you got them live. Matter of fact, here's another way. What if it's a family member, a friend, or somebody's been referred to me? How will I handle those circumstances? How will I get to the point where I ask a buyer to sign a contract, making sure that I get paid 3%? So let's picture this for a second. I get a ring and it's, yeah, hi, Darwin. I just drove by this property over on Easy Street. I'd like to get some information on it. And then they say, I'd like to see it. I'd say, fantastic. But before we do, you've got to sign a contract. How realistic is it, guys? How difficult is it? So what I would tell you is we've got to change the strategy from I'm just going to go show a home and hope that they'll sign a contract sometime with me, that they'd actually buy a home from me even, to I have an inquiry. I need to set a job interview up. I need to set up a job interview. Do what we do with sellers. Because we'd never expect the seller to sign a contract saying, hey, you're going to choose me and I need you to sign a contract to pay me 3%. And by the way, you're going to direct me to offer 3% out to anybody that can sell it. They would never do that without knowing you, knowing what you do, how you do it, how good you are at it. Why would we ever expect a buyer to do something differently? So the way that we do business has to change. Let's shift to an extent. Now we're on an open house. It's your listing First question, do I need to have them sign a contract? It's my listing. I'm holding it open. It's your listing. You're holding it open. Do you need to have them sign a contract?
No,
Jeanette, right on, not for that house. Not for that house. Because you're there on behalf of the seller, you represent the seller. Now, you should still be disclosing. And I know that we've all been doing that to every person when they walk in the door. We say, hi, my name is, I represent the seller, sign here that you've been told that. I'm saying that sarcastically. I know what the reality is. Okay. Let's shift gears on that open house for a second. Now I'm there and I'm a rookie. Paul's a great agent, gone out, got listings, can't handle them all by himself. So I say, hey, you got a great house that I think could be a great one for open houses. Could I hold it open for you? Here's what we now know. I'm not there on behalf of the seller unless I'm now designated to represent the seller. If I'm not there designated to represent the seller, I would literally have to have every buyer walk through the house and sign an agreement, making sure that I get paid. Kind of scary, isn't it? So I kind of give you an answer to that. I know Lisa, Martha, we've talked about that before. If we're really going to live up to the settlement terms, one of those two things would happen. So just know that. Now, what about a family member, a friend, or somebody that's been referred to you? The easiest thing is to simply do this. It is the next best thing for us to do is let's get together. Are you familiar with all of the things that are going on in real estate or the recent settlement? Most are going to say, yeah, I've heard some things. Well, then, as you may know, the government and a bunch of attorneys got together and said it's a really great thing, and we're going to make consumers sign an agreement with a buyer, or excuse me, with a realtor before they can see any homes. We're putting it on somebody else. This was not us. And by the way, we didn't drive this. The DOJ and a bunch of attorneys drove this settlement. They made us do this, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. Okay? But with family, friend, referrals, we're not just going to go jump out and start looking at homes. We absolutely need to start with a job interview, a buyer consultation. Now, that's the way that we want to do it with all of them. Now, how do we even get to that opportunity? One, we've got to begin marketing. We've got to educate the community. In Moxie Engage, there exists a number of campaigns that you can use to promote to buyers. You got the home buying process. The buyer has a closed campaign exists. There's a recently closed buyer. There's energy saving tips, all these things that you can do to simply educate buyers. And of course, one of the key things is know you can create your own. Create your own campaigns. You can use what exists and add others to it. You can add other emails to drip on them with. But these already exist. Just get out there and market it. Now, here's the process to take an inquiry to an appointment. So essentially, every one of them, this is what we want to do. I want to take it and turn it into an appointment. So I'm going to gain control from the business from the very beginning. I'm doing that by asking questions. But now we're going to make sure we're asking very good qualifying questions. because I'm going to trade information with them. I'm going to answer their question by giving them information, and I'm going to offer solutions to any issues that I'm discovering. Now, from there, I'm going to close for a job interview. Now, we're going to assume that I got it. I'd send a pre-interview package. The day of the appointment, I'm going to confirm that we're getting together. Hey, I'm going to see you today at 4 o'clock over at Tim Hortons. I'm going to see you in my office over in Rochester. Okay? What if, through my process of handling this inquiry, they just won't agree to a job interview? Well, then I got to ask some more great questions, because there's the one where they say, look, I just want to see the damn house, right? Anybody had that one yet? Anybody had in their career ever? They're there, absolutely. Well, here's the problem. They still need to sign an agreement. So I want to ask a couple of questions. Well, if I show this house, would you buy it from me? If you like it, would you buy it from me? Yep, pretty direct question, but you need to get that answer. If they say, yes, great, would you have any problem in making sure that I get paid? Well, what do you mean by that? Well, typically, we still build it into the purchase agreement, asking a seller to be able to pay the compensation, but you are responsible to see I get paid. If you bought this house from me, would you be willing to do that? Yeah, fine. Okay, great. I'm going to show them a house. I'm going to go disclose and have them sign a contract. And with our buyer agreement, it has the line to put the specific address or specific addresses I'm showing them. And I would be an exclusive agent in that case. But the first thing I always should do is to intrigue them enough that they would want to get together and allow me to interview for the job of helping them find their new home. Because I can't sell my value unless if we get together. Unless if I can begin working this process to where they see my value. So I gain control in the beginning by asking questions. What kind of questions would I ask? Well, again, this is where we're asking great qualifying questions. So what was it about this particular home that caused you to inquire on this property? Well, I really like that big, tall walnut tree and all the space, that big yard. Great. Well, how long have you been looking for what sounds like a shaded big yard? Okay. Well, we've been looking for about 2 months now. Great. Well, who are you working with to help you find that new home? Now, notice I did say, who are you working with? I asked an assumptive question. If you've been looking for 2 months, I assume that you're working with someone. Well, now you got to listen to how they answer. Because did they say, well, I'm working with Cheryl over at Coldwell Banker? Well, then that's pretty solid. They're working with Cheryl. My follow-up question would be, what paperwork has Cheryl had you sign? Well, she hasn't signed us anything. Oh, and you guys know where to be able to take that. Let's say that they said, well, we've been looking for about 6 months. 6 months, no kidding. Well, who have you been working to help you find those new homes? I can't, man, honey, what's that gal's name? Right? And by the way, I'm giving you true circumstances, and most of you have heard this before. Well, how many homes have you seen in those 6 months? Oh, probably about 50. Oh, no kidding. Well, why didn't you buy one of those? Well, you might have a professional home looker. I may not even close for an appointment on that. On the other hand, well, we've been looking for about 6 months. How many you looked at? Probably 10. No kidding. Well, why didn't you buy any of those? Well, we tried to buy 2 of them, but our offers didn't get accepted. Well, why do you think that is? Well, it was a competitive situation each time, and we were only able to do so much, so we think it was because of that. Wow. Well, let me ask you this. How is your current agent helping you find a new home? Well, she sends us stuff through the MLS and we say we want to go see this and we go look. Wow. Have you noticed that a lot of the homes are actually sold before you even able to take a look at them? Let me ask you this. How is your agent trying to find a home for you outside of the active ones that they're sending you through the MLS? So what if you knew there was a way that we could actually get you a home where you wouldn't have any competition? It might not even be on the market. You can see where I'm going with them, and they're starting to increase. Oh, wow. This is a person I should be talking to. Now, I think you can see where this question would go. Are you renting currently, or do you own your home? Well, we own a home. Oh, great. So do you need to sell that to buy your next home? Yeah, we would have to do that. Really? So I'm wondering, why are you working in reverse? Anybody go, what do you mean, what's in reverse? Right? Well, see, typically for folks that need to sell a home, they would actually sell it first and then buy, because by buying first and trying to sell, you're going to cost yourself thousands and thousands of dollars by working in reverse. Are you familiar with how that is? You're not? I'll tell you what, why don't we do this? I don't mind. Let's get together. Anybody that's been with me, you know, I'm walking them right into the aspect of why don't we do this? I don't mind. Let's get together. And in a case like this, we're now getting together to do two things. One, let's figure out what your home is worth. More importantly, how much are you going to have to work with to apply toward the purchase of the new home? We're going to sign two contracts, a listing contract plus a buyer representation contract. They will run concurrently. This is my favorite kind of buyer, because once they're homeless, they buy very quickly. What you just saw me doing through all of that is trading information. They say, how many bedrooms? You'd say, this one has 3 bedrooms. How many were you looking for? Well, we could get away with 3, but it sounded like you hesitated. Would 4 be better? Why would you need 4 bedrooms? So one of them would be an office. So let me ask you, if you found a 3-bedroom home, but it had an office, preferably, I dare say, right at the front door, is that something that would be beneficial for you? Oh yeah, that'd be great. Well, fabulous. What else can I tell you? Well, how many baths does it have? This one has 2.5 baths. How many are you looking for? Well, 2.5 would be great. Awesome. What else do you know? Does it have a basement? This one has a basement. Are you preferring a basement? Oh yeah. Are you looking for it to be finished, or would it be better if it was unfinished? You see where we're going in the rapport that we're building because of the trading of information and asking great questions. So it's always providing answers to the questions and finishing with another open-ended question. And what we know is that we're looking for their issues. We're trying to find out what is wrong with the process that they're in right now. We're going to offer solutions. We need to know what it is that we can bring to a buyer. Give them enough that they would want to get together with you so you could give them a consultation, interview for the job, and ask them to actually sign a contract committing to pay you. So we've got financial information, mortgage assistance. I don't want to be the mortgage officer. I want to know enough to be dangerous and smart enough to know that I got to get the mortgage person involved. Local area information, so your schools, your shopping, your taxes. Gosh, I mean, think about it. What's possible? You know, I was a big sports guy when I moved over here. I wanted to know where the Lions played. I wanted to know where the Pistons play. I wanted to know all the stuff about how long would it take me to get to the arena. Relocation packets are a great thing to be able to have. Even if you don't practice or take part in relocation, you will run into people who are relocating to the area. Have information that they would find beneficial. Here's one that you've got. I've got access to more properties than you could ever find on your own. You've got special search services. Matter of fact, are any of you familiar with my secret list of unlisted properties? How many of you have a list of unlisted properties? Would that be of interest to any buyer? So see, should I be calling upon for sale by owners, calling upon expireds, calling upon withdrawals, doing circle prospecting? The answer is yes. And that's the special search services. Do you have different levels of service that you could provide? How about the customized buyer action plan? Are you familiar with the techniques I use to help buyers get into their new homes at the lowest possible price? Matter of fact, are any of you familiar with the techniques that Darwin uses? Darwin and Cheryl uses to help buyers get into the newest home at the lowest possible price. So if none of you know that, and you create your own, is any buyer going to be familiar with what you do? So the only thing you're going to get is well, no. Well, then let's do this. I don't mind. Let's get together. Then I can show you what it is that I can do. But taking that further, close for the job interview. Let's get together. That becomes a simple. So we know closing is a process. It is not a point in time. It's one, asking questions, to two, identify the issues that they're facing, so that three, we can offer a solution or a service to the issues that we've discovered, so that we can, four, ask for the appointment in this process, this circumstance. Simply ask for, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, why don't we, or Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, why don't we do this? I don't mind. Let's get together. What I'd like to do is to show you what I do that's different in helping you find a new home, to avoid multiple offers, to avoid competition, so that we can actually save you thousands of dollars, because you won't have to bid over an asking price. They agree to the appointment, and I'm going to send a pre-interview package. Mrs. Buyer, I'm going to send over a package of information before we meet. Will you be able to take the time to look at it before I get there and just review it? What are the best email addresses that I can send this information to? And notice I do have addresses, because I think it's send it to both buyers. Okay. And then the day of the appointment, I'm going to confirm the appointment. Hi, Ms. Buyer. This is Darwin with HRC Realty. I'm calling just to confirm that I'll see you today at 4 o'clock, meeting over at Tim Hortons, meeting at my office in Clarkston. By the way, if you feel comfortable and confident that I can find your new home, is there anything that will keep us from getting things started tonight? It's a pre-qualifying question. And wouldn't it be a lot easier if they just said, no, we like everything we see? You go through a basic presentation of the process and buying a home, what you're going to do and how you end up with them and the keys to their new home. They'll sign a contract with you. So what's in this pre-interview package? One, your Moxie Present buyer presentation. If you didn't know there's one in there, I would suggest that you go take a look, because there is one in there. Personal references, because see, they want to know who's your company, who's your brand, who are you, and what are you going to do to help me find my new home? What's it going to cost me? Those are the basics that they want to know. Personal references then would be very good. You know, your website should be current, up to date, in promoting you the way that you consume. So remember, what you've heard me say before is market yourself the way that you consume. Now, here's what I mean by that. I actually had to send a referral for a friend down to Lake Placid in Florida. So I'm pretty much like a consumer. Now, when I do that, I'm obviously going to go Lake Placid real estate agents in Florida. Everybody with me? Isn't that what a consumer would do? It comes up. Now I'm looking for one of two companies. I want it to be either Coldwell Banker or Century 21. I was more attracted to the company website with Century 21. I then went through and started looking at who are the agents. But in particular, tell me what was the one thing that I was looking for. What was it I wanted to see? How do I know who's a great agent?
By their reviews?
Thank you, Danette. Yes, I was looking at star ratings on their website. That was the easiest way to do it. I found one gal who had 38 reviews. She was a 5.0 with 38 reviews. Now, there were others that were way up there and had a 4 point whatever. And it wasn't that she had a 5.0, that it's that she had only 38. You see, I was looking for somebody who wasn't going to be too busy because I know my buyer. And then, by the way, Century 21 agents, she had also received the Quality Service Award. That told me I've got a good agent. Number of reviews, the star rating, she had the Quality Service Award. She was the one that I chose to make sure received this referral for my friend. Okay. So you're going to have a copy of your action plan. How is it we're going to go about? What am I going to do to help you find your new home? Agency disclosure statement, the buyer representation contract. Maybe you should put together a home buyer's guide. And I really believe in the video aspect of things. Now, don't go looking for Darwin's. Darwin's need to be updated. I'm not going to be a great example for you. But here's what I can tell you. This is a great one. Let's see if you can hear this. If it'll work for us.
Hi there, this is Gary Krepp. And this is Chris Scott, and we're with the Patents Homes here in Austin, Texas. We're
Paul,
here
is it
today
coming
to
through? Give me a thumbs
answer
up if you're
what
hearing
should be
it.
included in
Good.
an offer when making an offer to purchase a home.
Man, this is a great question, especially when the market is hot. You're going in and you're competing with multiple offers to buy the home of your dreams. And boy, you want to make sure that you get that contract, right?
Right, and oftentimes, it's easy to miss or not include certain things that would make your offer stronger so that the seller is considering the options that.
So I just wanted to show that brief part to it because I believe that that is going to make more of an impression, because how many agents, as part of a pre-listing package or a pre-interview package, have anything like that regarding buying real estate in their area? Or, and by the way, these gentlemen, I found them, I just thought they did a great job. It's simple, yet not extravagant. They didn't pay the big bucks to be able to do it. And this is what they threw out there. What are the closing costs when buying a home in? Buying a house versus an existing home in. Okay. Do videos, put together your email, pre-interview package email, everything it would include. And then here's like 3 video samples, we'll call it, that you could use. Now, what is that pre-interview email? This, again, I actually stole this from those guys. But the subject line, actions required before our appointment on November 8th. That would be the subject line. As a reminder, our appointment is November 8th at 3 p.m. Before we meet, please complete these 3 simple activities to make the most of our time together. Watch these videos. Please take a few minutes and watch these short videos. 3 minutes or less is really what you're shooting for. Spending 10 minutes now will save us 45 minutes later. There's a benefit to you watching these. What to include in your offer to buy Hesperia real estate? There's your link. Or that link is, it would be embedded behind that statement. What are closing costs when buying a Hesperia home for sale? Buying a new house versus existing home in Hesperia. All of those would have the links. Now, download your home buyer's guide. Whether this is your first home purchase or your 10th, It helps to review the fundamentals. Check out the Home Buyer's Guide to learn how to calculate your buying power, what rules you must follow if you're applying for a loan, and more. Feel free to share a copy with people you know personally. And then Home Buyer's Guide, that would have the embedded link within it. Review my presentation. Buying a home, blah, 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 buyer presentation with the link. If you have any questions prior to appointment, please let us know. Thank you. It's Zeke Zukowicz, HRC Realty. And of course, PS, check out that buyer presentation to get a snapshot of various current market conditions. So you're going to be providing what's going on in the marketplace. So that's a sample email that you could send prior to the interview confirming your appointment. And with that, guys, that's a simple process for selling value. But the biggie is, one, what is it I can do? Two, how do I present it? How do I get to the point where I can even present it to them? Send me the email. I'll send you, well, that interview, that pre-interview email. I will send you, look, I got a lot. All those services that you got that we first flashed up, all of that will come to you. But send me that email to darwin@darwinconley.com. All right. Let's open it up for questions. What do you have for me?
Hey, Darwin, I just have a quick question. I cover for an agent in my office when she goes on vacation, and she covers when I go on vacation. So the last time she had a client contact her, one of her buyers who wanted to see a property. So I showed it for her on her behalf as if I was her. Did I need to get that buyer to sign a agreement first, even though if that buyer chose to purchase it, I would actually have the agent on vacation, I would put everything into her name.
Great scenario, Danette. And actually, let's treat that, be it a buyer or a seller, because the circumstance is the same. So with this settlement and with agency, for us to go show those homes, for us to provide service to their seller, and let's exaggerate it, they're gone for 6 weeks. So offers will come in on their listing. What should happen? And I think everybody knows the answer. We should designate you to represent that buyer, that seller, or anyone that they have under contract at that time period. Now, compensation, that's for you and your sales associate partner to figure out. But yes, we should designate. It goes back to the aspect of me holding Paul's listing open. The easiest thing for me to do is to be designated, even though a lot of people don't like that, because my alliance to his sellers doesn't go away after the open house. And oh, by the way, if I'm designated to represent his sellers and a buyer comes through whom I now represent, I have to redisclose I'm a dual agent. Don't complicate it. It is that simple. It's just a pain, and it's something that we haven't had to do before. Holly says, can we designate on an addendum? Guys, what do you think? How can we designate? How can Paul and his managing broker, supervisory broker, designate me to also represent? Guys, I don't know what Holly would think about this. I almost don't care as long as you do it. Okay? If it's on a piece of paper, if it's in an email, we're really amending the listing contract or the buyer representation contract. So could an amendment do that? Yep. Yep, absolutely. But for the most part, as long as we do it and we have some kind of physical evidence, we're going to be fine on that one. Great questions. Anybody got anything else? It looks like my internet's a little shaky here, but did everything come through? Everybody's good? I see a thumbs up from Livonia. Thank you for that. Looks like everybody's good. So here's what I know. It's Tuesday. We got one more day. I'm going to say happy Thanksgiving to you. Then we start going into the holidays. Make sure you all work the rest of the year unless if you plan to take time off. Because most real estate agents are going to go on a 6-week hiatus starting Thursday. You will literally see half of the real estate agents are going to shut down. Don't be those agents. Everything that we're going to do for the rest of the year is really setting up what we're going to have as an income in 2025. So go after it. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Go to work, go talk to lots of people, and we'll see you next week. By the way, next week is, I believe, is Paul Wolfert's going to be with us in sharing his knowledge and wisdom. If you haven't, just do a little research on Paul Wolfert and see what comes up. You're going to want to be with us next week, and make sure you tell everybody about it. We'll see you guys. Have a great one.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
You're welcome. Thank you.